Hey, Kittywood. Well, it says I'm live, and it is 4:13 in the morning a.m. It's Sunday, March the 4th, and I'm doing a live update of where the moon is in relationship to where I am. And I got my little laptop here with me. Now, it's a little over a week ago. I'm standing in the same place, so my reference point is the same. And I was standing here my little back porch kind of thing, and I had to look straight up overhead to find the moon. And now, lo and behold, let's see where my finger is. The moon's over here now. You can see it, nice and clear. And the other night, it was right up overhead. Okay. So in the course of, well, last night, actually, if you want to know the truth, last night I was looking at the moon coming up, and I thought that it was actually higher than it should be. And when I came outside and looked up, I actually had to step away from my front porch and to look up at the moon. And I couldn't get a shot with the little computer here. I was going to go live and check it out. And I was like, well, no, because it's overhead. So it hasn't really changed since my last go live stream on the Earth Wobble Moon thing. Okay. Now, tonight, however, or this morning, and I wanted to get it before the moon is over my shoulder, all right, but I'm trying to get it. Oh, I don't want to drop my laptop here. It went from straight overhead to over here. You can't see my finger much. Okay, to over here. So it went from overhead to over here in one day, in a 24-hour period. Holy mackerel. So I'm going to point it back up here. Whoop. I'm pointing back up here to the moon, and I was doing my point with my arm thing. Okay, so I'm overhead 2 nights ago. Now, where'd that moon at? Now it's, I don't know. Now it is that away. Okay. And so from where I'm standing, I'm going to see how well this works. I got me a little camp table out here. I brought out. It's got a bad glare from that there light there, huh? So I take my little protractor and straight up and down. So, but now when I look at when I put this up to my head like this, like I'm doing right this minute, I got me some marks here on my little protractor. Okay. And it's, I got to put my glasses back on. All right. So we went from about 85 degrees, which is like 85 degrees is like right there. 85, 80 degrees, somewhere in there. Now, this first red line, oh, I'm reading it from the wrong side. That's what's wrong. Is my, gosh, my eyesight's getting bad. I can't read it. Anyway, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Okay. All right. So that's, straight overhead is 90, 80, 70. So that's a 60 degree. So I went from 85 degrees to 60 degrees in about 36 hours. And you can see the moon up over my shoulder over this way. However, it is setting it is setting mostly in the west. Okay, so I'm facing east, with how I got this little camera thingy set up right now. Now, like I said the other night, I had to look straight up and tilt the camera up. And now the moon is over here. And so what I showed with my little protractor dealy right here, okay, is that we went from 85 degrees to 60 degrees. So 20 degrees. 20 degrees, 60, 70, 80, actually 25 degrees. Now, in some of my previous posts, I've been complaining. Yeah, I have been complaining. I've been complaining that, doggone it, the Earth is wobbling something fierce. Now, where the moon is right now is where Orion was earlier. Okay, and I came out earlier and I was like, "Whoa!" And it was good and high in the sky. This was about, I guess, about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is 4:19 Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, March the 4th, 2018. Golly, that's hard to even, 2018. Woo! Anyway, so, but now when I came out here earlier and I'm trying to do my thing, I was having issues with getting the computer to look up, and this camera is okay and everything for this little Chromebook, but the hello Marie, what's the time there? It is 8:18 p.m. here. It is 4:19 a.m. where I am here in Southwest Georgia, and well, it 8 p.m. 8 p.m. So the moon would be, well, it is not, it hasn't risen yet for you. You probably got a couple more hours for the moon to rise on yours. And for me, it's 2 days past full moon. And from the other night, like I said earlier, when you just got here, okay, moon just starting to rise in the low horizon. Yeah. Whereabouts is you, Marie? I'm in South Georgia, just north of the Florida line, about 50 miles. And the moon just came up in the wrong place tonight. And yesterday I was trying to get it. The Australia, that's right. I remember. Just got dark. We have daylight savings time. So it would be 9 o'clock, sort of. You're skipped ahead? Yeah, Australia. I was trying to figure that out. You know, if the moon is straight over my head here in you know, the southern United States, I'm around the 33, 32 degree parallel. All right. Yeah, you're just in Sunday night. Yep, and I'm coming up into Sunday morning. Yeah, yep. So if the moon is straight over my head from where I am, then it must be difficult for y'all down in Australia to see the moon at all, because, you know, if it's way over my head, then that means that you got to go to the equator and then even further south and then Australia, right? And so it's like, I was wanting to ask the question, how high up in the sky does the moon rise in Australia? I mean, you know, the moon's way over my head here the other day, and now, like I said, it's moving further south. So it should be easier for Marie, for you to see it down there. It's high in the sky down there. See, now that makes me, I got to thinking about this the other night. I was like, wait a minute here. If the moon is high on my end of the world, and I'm way north, you know, on the earth from you and your location in Australia, how in the hell can it be high in the sky for you guys too. It should be. Now, I am not a flat earth person, but you know, if we got a curve and you on the bottom side of the curve, that must mean that the moon should be close to your horizon. And if it's pretty high in the sky, do we have two moons? Now, it was suggested here, I guess about 6 months ago, that there was going to be a split and that we were going to have different timeline changes. And, you know, all that really good, fantastic woo from the galactics. That's why this is called the Cosmic Conspiratorium, in that we're going to talk about some stuff. No same moon? What do you mean by it's the same moon? It hasn't moved? I mean, as far as position in the sky? Because I know for here, it's moved 25 degrees in less than 2 days. We are wobbling all over the place. So now if we have changed another timeline, it was suggested that we had two moons at one time because one of the moons got, they from what I understand, that they had a little war up there. You see the same moon as me. Man, that just don't look right. So it's that high in the sky for you. Wowzers. See, all right, now what about the face? But I can't see yet. You got a mountain. Okay. Right now, the face of the moon is two eyeballs and a nose and the mouth. And so he's kind of sitting a little, let's see, how do I do this? He's sitting a little cockeyed, just slightly. Now, that was one of the other things because that I've been, you get a good west view setting. Yeah. Well, that's what it's just starting to set. Well, at 4:25. Yep. I know there's been some strange goings on in the sky here. I recently saw a couple of videos from some folks down Australia way, and the amount of UFO sightings and weird things in the sky kind of deal. And I know tonight that it's hard to see the sky. It's a clear night, but the moon being as bright as it is, it's hard to see some of the. Hey, Milky Way, how you doing? Howdy to you as well. Mm-hmm. But I can't figure out how the moon can be high on both of our areas of the world. It just, you know, and so it has to make me think about. All right, now, if the moon is high in your sky in Australia, and it's way too high in the sky for me here in Southwest Georgia, do we have two moons? Yeah, it's really bright. It's fairly clear though. We had down here in Southwest Georgia, and well, down here in the South in general, about this a lot of folks burn off the property about this time. A lot of pine trees around, and so they burn off the undergrowth. And so somebody had burned earlier, and the dew fell and set in, and man, the fog was so thick. I know you can see the moon in Antarctica. And you know what? One of the strangest things, when I come up with this thing the other night, I spent hours and hours and hours and hours. I mean, I was going to go online with it, but I was like, I could not find a camera that in the southern hemisphere, anywhere south of the equator. That's all I wanted. I wanted to find out, you know, like I checked the beaches in Chile and Brazil and Argentina and Antarctica. And I tried some places in New Zealand, and but the problem is that it was daylight there when I was doing this checking, you see, so it didn't do me any good. I got a webcam of the Sydney Harbor and said it was live. It looked live, boats moving, blah blah blah. But it was daylight, and so I couldn't check where the moon was. But I was trying to figure out now how in the heck Earth Online is good. Is that what is that, Milky? I've got a lot of online programs. But here's something that really confuses me. I come out here and I can they cascade the orbits. Something's going on. The remark was about 3 months ago was that they were towing another planet into our solar system to help balance out all this energy that's coming through right now. And it's an app on Earth Online. Gotcha. And so they said that they literally ran into the moon with another planet and broke a chunk off. And I went, you're kidding me. But however, the moon literally from, it comes up and its little face moves across the sky and it basically faces us all the time. So he's just changing from one position to this position. Well, he was laying on his side. I mean, he was definitely he came up with his eyeballs sideways. And at the same time, because the moon was so low, now this was several months ago, okay? But I came out and I looked at the stars and I was like, well, wait a minute. It's usually Pleiades comes up first, Seven Sisters. And then there's a V shape. I think it's Aquila or anyway. And then Orion comes up and then blah, blah, blah. So I'm looking up there and Orion was first. It was like somebody had taken, it was like I was looking in a mirror at the stars. So I went inside, I got my little computer out, and I go checking, and I went to 3 different notable online planetarium, where are the stars kind of thing. And each one of them showed me different. Of the 3 different apps, they didn't agree on where the stars were. And my location, same place, within 20 miles north or south, right? But it showed Orion's over here in one of the apps. It showed, one of them actually showed the inverse. I mean, it's like somebody literally flipped the thing, mirrored it. And so I'm looking up at the stars and I'm seeing Orion, the V thing, and then Pleiades. It's absolutely backwards. I got a video yesterday where the moon went from big and bright to small and dim, like the SWIP. Yep. I've seen some stuff go by the moon. I've got some video that one of these days I have got hours of video that I want to upload. But every time I try to upload one of my videos, and for down here in the country, I got a really fast connection. I'm paying out the wazoo to have a good connection. And I can't upload a 10-minute video. It takes 3 or 4 hours. This don't make sense. Except that I know that they've been, when I started talking about the chicken farms and all the waste and killing all the wildlife and everything down here in the South, it was like they had my number. Anytime I tried to upload something to YouTube, nope. So what do? I go live and I take my chances. And I know how to do video editing and all this other kind of stuff, but I can't. It doesn't do me any good. And I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys live either. So the moon is rolling a little bit more so than it should. But I got to say, it is setting. I got a compass in on the floor, and I put it there in 2009, and I drew a corner on it, and it butts up against a piece of furniture. So if it ever gets moved, I can move it back within a less than a degree. And I pull it, and I move it, and check it. Nope, I wasn't born yesterday. Well, you know what though? Yesterday I woke up and I got to say that I looked outside and I got I got the south side of my house is all windows. I don't know if this will show up at nighttime or good morning time. Not really. I'm looking through my windows. It's all the south side of my house is nothing but windows. That's what it looks like from out here, kind of thing in the morning. But anyway, so when I wake up, I got a really good view of the south and the sky and everything like that. And I'm here to tell you, it's like I woke up in a different world. Things were greener. The sun was almost like it was one of these new LED lights. It was a blue. There was a blue tint to everything. Now the grass was really green, and I got pear trees blooming. I got wild plum trees blooming. I'm putting in gardening potatoes, and I got flowers coming up. And spring's way too early, but it like tonight is almost 40 right now, and it's going to be in the 30s next couple of days. It's got a blue tint to it now. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I really do think that we have moved into another timeline. I try to dismiss it. I try to talk myself out of different timelines. But in listening to Cliff High and Randy Morgans and some other folks that I've been watching for a good many years, and like Drake Bailey and Quantum with Dr. Sam Muggsy, and it's then that's when I really started paying attention and observing, and what color is it? Is it green, yellow, blue, hazy? And right now, this camera is not giving it justice. But, I'm 65 years old, and I remember when you looked up at the moon, and the moon was kind of sort of yellow or a little orange tint to it. I can't remember the last time I've seen the moon with any kind of a yellow tint. You know what I'm saying? It's white or bluish, merging of dimensions. I gotta say, as much as I would like to talk myself out of it, yeah, last night it was coming up through the trees, which it doesn't normally do. I mean, I had to. That's why I didn't do a live video last night. I got tired before the moon got up high enough to where I could see it. I mean, it was way up over top of the house, and it is not over top of the house now. I mean, that's way out of whack, And so, and the color's different too tonight. But yesterday, today, whatever these energies, they have been hammering me, knocking me just out. And I'm trying to feed the chickens, which is not hard to do. I just have to walk out to the chicken pen and throw some feed in, kind of thing, and collect a few eggs and come back. A couple of days ago, there were 3 days in a row that it was all I could do to make it to my back door and feed the cats, and just here kitties. I missed feeding the chickens one whole day. I mean, like 24, they didn't get feed for 48 hours, and they was hungry when I got to them, and they had eaten all their eggs in the chicken hen, which is okay. I mean, I didn't feed them, but to the point though, I could not wake up. And when I woke up, this is Sunday morning here now. When I woke up Saturday morning, it was like Friday as well. Friday was overcast some, but I could tell that there was a difference. And an odd thing for down here, I haven't seen any, knock on wood, I haven't seen any chemtrails. I'm sorry, stratospheric aerosol injection. But I saw vapor trails, jets going by, and the vapor trail peter out a little bit behind them, like it's supposed to. But I haven't seen any chemtrails. I see the moon from the side of my house and noticed it from a different window when rising above the mountain. Yep, it normally does when I start getting its view. Yep, that's how you tell, And I've gotten in. I've got a friend of mine that I've known for 35 years, ever since I moved down here in this neck of the county, and he refuses to come back over here and speak to me because last time I was here, he was here, which has been about a year ago now. I kept telling him, I said, man, the sun ain't right, man. You ought to know better. Where's the sun and the moon coming in your window over there at your house? And he started thinking about it, and it scared him to death. He won't even talk to me about this. I don't even want to look at the moon no more. I used to enjoy it, but now you got me thinking, where is it? And I'm like, dude, man, these are things we should be paying attention to. We need to be paying attention. So, and since I've been talking, his face is rotated even more now on the moon. Oh, and one other thing before I close this out for now is that when Orion was high in the sky tonight at like about 9 o'clock, it was where it was supposed to be. Now, if the Earth and everything is turning in the right direction, Orion should have went and set behind me in the west. It didn't. Instead, it set where the moon is now and even further south. Instead of moving west, you noticed in the sunset. Yeah. It's just being aware. Some folks are like, well, what are we going to do about it? Nothing. We're just going to hang on. But what we need to do is pay attention. So, I mean, at first it freaked me out. And, I still got to think, man, the moon, the Earth and the moon rolled 25 degrees in less than 2 days. Yep. All I can say is that it's got to be this out of Wobble, because they're talking about, that it's freezing over, England and Scotland and all that kind of good stuff up there, and they're finding more ice now all of a sudden off the ice shelf. And so some of the water that melted earlier is now refreezing. So we are really wobbling out of balance. But now the other thing is that it seems like the moon's on its own little wobble. And I was trying to draw a correlation like, okay, during the full moon, the moon has been more overhead than at, say, the new moon. Okay. Well, it's only 2 days past full moon, and moon's already started to, quote, fall south in the sky to me. And that don't make any sense. And like the other thing, I can't, well, let me see if I can view it from here. The other night, where am I? I always look for the North Pole star, and the North Pole star has moved. I could see the entire Big Dipper pointing where the North Star is. It's not really north. Now, my house is lined up south because it's a solar house. Yep. And which is weird because it's been in the 80s the last couple of days. And then we had a little thunderstorm thingy line come through on Friday. And now it is like 42 degrees out here, I don't see my breath. That's interesting. Anyway, and they're going to be in the 30s next week. So we got all these plants. I got azalea bushes blooming. And what's it going to do? Get to freezing. We got all these fruit trees that are budding out. What's going to happen? Just like it did a couple of seasons ago. It got too warm too quick. Then it come cold, and we didn't have any fruit. None. No fruit that season. And last year was really, really short. And I got a pear tree that usually there's usually bushels of pears. Not one pear did I get off that tree the last 2 years. And so I got pear trees blooming all over. Two, I say newer trees. They're about 5 or 6 years old, but they're blooming this year. And so what's going to happen on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? It's going to be down in the 30s, possibly in the low 30s. Is it going to kill the fruit on the trees? I don't know. Here we go again. You know, we were supposed to get some good rain. It didn't even put that much in the bottom of a cup. You know, I'm good with water so far, but the thing is that 30 miles north of us, it was a deluge, and folks were in a flood situation. So, and one of the other things I started noticing is that they've got all these new Doppler radar towers around here, and you can literally see when these guys are sparking these things. You can see the storms come in and like disappear around these towers. It's weird. And whether they're doing it on purpose or they're just doing it, I don't know. But where we should have normally got more rain by this time in the spring, I'm glad we've got the 3 inches we've had, but we should have had 3 inches in January. We should have had 2 inches last month at least. This month should have started out with an inch of rain when that storm came through the other day. Nope, we didn't get any rain. So fingers crossed. I got water up. Yeah, the moon's rotating. It is. It looks plum blue in the screen. Do you live in the northern or southern part of Australia? I don't know if I asked you that before. Something's flashing. Something's making. See it? There it went again. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So in the middle. Yeah. Yeah. There's been a lot of etheric East Coast. Yay. A lot of East Coast. Oh, a lot of etheric and I can't think. Oh man. Okay, little people. A lot of little. I swear I'm starting to see orbs where before I would have to take a picture of them. And earlier tonight there were things moving around in my yard, and I look out the window and go, mm-hmm. Now my nearest neighbor is like almost a quarter mile up the hill from me. So I don't have anybody lives nearby. And there aren't no cars that travel down this road. I'm way out in the country. And having lights flicker across where my truck is over there and then across the yard and and then I see it up over by the well, I'm like, okay. Now I'm not scared of these kinds of things because I've seen ghosts before. I've had saved me from a fire many moons ago before I moved down here where I'm at now. There are many spirits that are in these woods. I'm between 2 cemeteries, so there seems to be a lot of activity in the area. Plus, there was a large Native American battle that happened right up here on the top of the hill from where my property is, and my neighbor found like 200 arrow points and spear points and stuff, and the Aboriginals call them Ninman. And what is that? Ah, the lights. I see. Gotcha. Well, I've taken pictures of orbs and things down here in my my backwoods, which is like right out my back door. Like 20 feet from me. Okay, 30. But and I've seen lights going through the woods before. I'm way over that. I've been here for yes, orb lights, spirit lights. Yes, yes. However, I'm beginning to think that they these orbs aren't just, I think some of them are interdimensional beings, and some of them I think are those of dead folks. And you had an experience with the orbs, you do? I'm if I have a a video that I did a year ago or more, year and a half ago, I guess now, about the blue orbs, and I've got pictures in the video that I did when I went to Ohio to a sacred site up there, and I got to find those pictures, and I want to do another little update on it because I've sort of gotten some instructions from okay, space beings, best I can tell you. They're just telling me that, I need to redo the video. I need to look at the pictures again, because I was told through my little mind conversation that they had with me that uh, they gave me, what color was it, Marie? The ones that were in Ohio were all blue spheres. I've taken pictures of. I've found activity in a couple of places down here in South Georgia, and one of them is over on the Flint River, and it's where there's an old ferry. It used to be the old type of ferry that they would, throw a rope across and pull back and forth, and there's no bridge there. It's right in the middle. I mean, it's like 30 miles to a bridge, either north or south of that location. And I go and camp there and sit on the river, and I take my kayak or canoe and go, fishing and swimming, whatever time of year it is. Anyway, so I started taking pictures there at night, and lo and behold, I started getting all kinds of different orbs. Now, the issue was some of these orbs were just evil. I don't know how else to put it. I'm just put it as plain and simple. Red, nasty, glowing eyes coming out of these things. And I've got pictures of me standing at the back of my truck where I take a picture with the camera like beside my head. So I'm in the frame with the orbs around my head. And some of these orbs are as big as my head and just as red, orange, and you can see faces in these things. And while I was taking the pictures, they didn't like it, and they would kill my batteries deader than snot a bunch of times. So then I started going and asking before I took a picture, and I could tell right away whether or not I would get a good picture, bad picture. But I got a bunch of pictures of orbs over the years from the same location. Okay, different times, da da da. And you can see them. I can take them in different successions, and you can see them moving through the trees and disappearing. And one will be real close to where my camera is, and then you can see another one that just barely lit back in the background. It was blue like the moon's color. Now it was like a inch long size of a thumb, bright and dim. Yeah, yep. Now the blue ones, I've always had good experience with the blue ones. The orange ones, nah. The yellow ones are like, I'm not quite sure. There's been some pastel yellows, absolutely gorgeous, almost like a golden, and they're like interesting, but they're light blue, darker blue, almost navy blue. But then when you get on the red side and the oranges, it's like, I'm telling you, man, there was red ones. I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do a video with the orbs. But they're on my other hard drive. I need to plug into this so I can get to them. But you talk about some of them. I mean, the hair stands up on my arm. I'm just thinking about some of them things. Now, I found out over there at the river where I was taking pictures there was a massacre there many, 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 many moons ago. And so that there were a lot of innocent people. I guess you could say I would sit there and meditate. And while I would meditate there at that site on the river where I took the photos, There's a boat ramp dock thing. Anyway, and so when I found out that there were orbs there and the colors and that type of thing, every time I would go back, then I found out that some of them liked native drumming, for example. So me being part Cherokee and I can't think of a southern tribe down here. Um, there was a streak that just went by up there. It could have been a meteor, but it was bright white. Went by. Anyway, so I took my native drum and I would drum and do a small chant and a song. I would take my Native American flutes and play a song. And so that eased the spirits and they allowed me to start taking pictures. And that's where I've got these pictures of me standing by the back of my truck with orbs all around me or just in front of me. And so I've got my kayak just in front of me, and you can tell that the orbs are between me and the kayak, which is just a couple of feet away. So I like to do things like that too. Because if I'm going to speak about, etherical things and spirits and spheres and whatever, then if I do have photographs, and I want to have something in the photograph that can give a little bit of depth, or to whoever else is looking at it, going, well, that son of a gun was like right next to you, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, that's when I started putting me in the frame, or trying to. And so then I could show people, see, this orb is the size of my hand or the size of my head, which is pretty daggum big for some folks anyway. But that's a joke, son. That's a joke. Now, see, that moon is already starting to tilt. It's rotating way too fast. I wish this thing had a zoom on it, kind of thing. This year, I'm going to try to save up money. I've got 2 telescopes, and I've got a couple of old cell phones. And I noticed that there are some guys on the internet who are taking these old cell phone cameras and hooking them up to their telescopes and being able to view them and then plug them into the laptop, kind of thing. So I'm going to try that this year, because I would really love to be able to zoom in with a camera while live and be able to do that. And I got enough junk around here to do that. But so I can't find Orion. I think that's Jupiter. I'm not sure. I was thinking that Mars should be up as well. That might be Saturn, actually. I'm going to have to find out. All the planets are on one side of the sun compared to us. What, to try to hook up a thing to a telescope? Yeah. Now, see, I've got a little Canon that I bought, and it's got one heck of a zoom, but I can't go live with it. That's the issue. It's got probably as good a zoom as what the telescope. Yeah, the telescope I've got. But, I would love to be able to set it up and then just point it, no, I don't. The other thing is I got to try to get an equatorial mount camera. Not camera. I read camera right there. A motor so you can track so you can point it at something, focus it in, and then hit the button and it will track it by itself. Anyway, that's a little further down the line for, I would at least like to be able to put a camera in the thing. So, and also I've got an older camera that's got like an infrared setting, and I'm trying to get it running, so I can, because it will do, what do you call it? It has a night vision, so it can see things that the normal eye can't see. And it's an old Sony, but it's in really good shape. However, I am having issues trying to plug it into this Chromebook thing. It doesn't want to accept it. Yeah, night photography. Yeah, and it's got a bunch of settings. And at its time, it put a digital signal on a tape, so it was almost a high def. It was just before high def came out, but it puts it on a tape. And anyway, I'm working on it. That's what I want to do because I've got a good mount for it. I've got a couple of really good tripods. So, Marie, blessings to you. Your moon is just starting to come up good, and mine is just about to set. I was looking to see if there was any any sign of sunrise. Yeah, I got some. I'll have to check it out. At the Library of the Milky Way. I've got some really cool pictures that I've been taking over the years, and I've got some video too of well, they're like smoke devils. When I was burning out the property a couple of years ago, they look like little tornadoes, but they're not. They have a mind of their own. And when I found out that later on that that the spirits were actually would, you know, I would egg them on like, okay, I want to see another one, and then all of a sudden out of the smoke, you would see these twirlings and they would play back and forth crossed in the woods. And they're really cool. They're kind of eerie in a way because I'm using uh, a night vision type camera and, Willie Willis, okie dokie. And but you can see these whirlwindy thingies dancing around in the property back there. It's really cool. And also, I got to make it down on the river because the spirits are telling me to come down. I don't know if I mentioned this the last time, but one time on the river on the Big O'Clockney, I go down in the middle of the night sometimes just to be on the river at night with the moon. And I was coming home, and it was so foggy I couldn't see to the end of my kayak, which is only like 10 feet long. So, I couldn't see the end of my feet, basically. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. I would love to come to Australia, I swear. Ayers Rock, I was looking at it yesterday. As a matter of fact, it came across my vision again. Um, but there are certain places in this world, and it's like I know that I hung around the pyramids. I knew that when I was in grade school in the 60s, before being in Egypt was like a cool thing. I had in 1971, I had 3 books on Egyptians and hieroglyphs and the whole 9 yards. It was like $300 worth of books. Got burned up in my house. But boy, I got off topic, didn't I? Oh, going down on the river though. So um, I had this little sing song in my head, and they said that they were the water nymphs down there in the swamps, and right on the Florida Georgia line. I'm talking about on the Big O'Clockney. And these things, I put a little light on the front of my kayak, and one of these little cap light LED things, and you could see these spirits would form in the fog and play and dance across the water and intertwine with each other. And I couldn't have taken a picture if I wanted to, but I made it all the way back from the Georgia line, Florida line, up through the back to where the truck was, which is at least a good mile. I'm sure it was further than that, several miles down the river. But I made it all the way back up the river and never hit a log, never hit a twig, never ran into anything because the little wispy things would go. They would do this little singy thing and then move over here or like follow me over here. And so I just kind of went with it. But I made it all the way back in the middle of the night with only a tiny little lot of my ferric spirit. Ah, really? You saw that one? Cool beans. Um, but so I want to go back down, and this time I'm going to take that other camera and I'm going to try to see if I can't videotape the swirls. And the next couple of days there should be fog on the river, so I'm going to try to see if I can't get down there. I've been egging to get back on the river anyway, so. Miss Marie, it's almost 50 minutes. I send my love and deep affection from South Georgia to you. You have a wonderful evening, and I'm going to go in here and give me some coffee before I go to bed. Good thing to have before I go to bed, right? Um, No, but my feet are cold and I want to warm up, and I got some coffee in the house. So, you have a good night, and let's see if we can't chat some other time. I just did this on a whim, man. I was like, I just got, oh, there's a, wow, a blue light just went on and off. It's getting mighty light up. I'm here to tell you there's some strange things going on in the sky, I tell you. Good morning and good evening from Australia and from South Georgia to you too. Have a wonderful evening, and let's plug in together. End of stream in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye. Yeah, okay, bye bye.